Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to the Manggcast, and it's December 5th, 2015. Well, it is when I'm recording this. I don't know what day it is for you. Could be any day. Could be any day after this. But anyways, this week is kind of a flip from last week. We actually have mostly video game news and very little stuff to talk about movies, which is okay. We can go back and forth. So a couple of things happened this week in the world of video games. One, there was the Video Game Awards, which is the thing that used to be the Spike Video Game Awards, and now it's kind of spun off, and really it's just Jeff Keighley kind of running the whole thing now, and just talking. I don't know. The other thing that happened was the PlayStation Experience, which is somewhat of a recent event, I guess. Like, E3 is really just not enough anymore. In the old days, it was like, what, we really need a whole conference for this thing? Nowadays, we have like 8 separate things going on, and yeah, so PlayStation Experience happened this week, and there was some video game announcements and blah, 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 things to talk about. So first thing is Telltale announced that they are making another game, because that's what they do. They make a lot of freaking games about a lot of different IPs. This one is kind of interesting, though, because it's Batman. Now, it's not interesting because of Batman. I mean, let's be honest. Not many people care about Batman anymore. Certainly not me. But no, it's interesting because they're getting into much more widely known IPs, I guess. I mean, Game of Thrones is pretty well known, but not compared to Batman. Walking Dead, pretty well known, but Batman, I mean, it's kind of a different new level. So that's good. I'm hoping someday they'll make the Flash. I don't know why Batman? Why pick Batman? We already have Batman games. People play them. Make a game about the Flash. The Flash! So I don't know. I'm not a gigantic fan of Telltale's games. I played Walking Dead Season 1, and I thought it was decent. There's just so many of them now. It's just like, okay. So I doubt I'll actually play the Batman Telltale adventure game. But the Flash, I would get on that. I would even play the Justice League. Do that. I would do that. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be kind of like a Batman adventure game. Just seems like, what? You know, I don't know. So I guess, you know, if they actually go into proper superheroes instead of lame wannabes, I don't know how you do that with an adventure game. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. What else do we got here? I'm kind of intermixing things from the Game Awards and the PlayStation Experience. But at the PlayStation Experience, No Kuni 2 is announced. So, No Kuni, I still don't know what it means. I don't really care. Was the one that we care about. The one that this is a sequel to. It was called No Kuni Wrath of the White Witch. No, that wasn't it. What the hell was the... Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. Yeah, Wrath of the White Witch. Developed by Level 5. This came out in 2013 in America. Came out in Japan in 2011. And, yeah, No Kuni, there's like a bunch of games in the series, but the only one that we care about living in the US of A was Wrath of the White Witch 2013 for the PS3. And I really, really enjoyed No Kuni. I played the hell out of it, and it was just, you know, it had a great art style, you know, the Studio Ghibli working on that shit, and it was just really, you know, it was one of those games that just kind of plays like a movie, and I mean, the gameplay was good, could be improved, but yeah, actually, you know, I like the story. I actually it didn't seem like something I would enjoy, because I don't really like watching animated movies or anything like that, but the game itself, I liked it, and I wanted more. And so finally now we have No Kuni 2 announced, coming to PS4. Yeah, so the art style is, I mean, it looks even better now. PS4, all that good stuff. The trailer that they showed doesn't really seem to be like a direct sequel or anything like that. More kind of sharing the same world. But yeah, it's Ni no Kuni, which I like saying. It's called Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, and there's no release date yet. I mean, it'll come to America. It will, because it was kind of it was an American event. It was held in Las Vegas, so they wouldn't announce a Japanese-only game in Vegas. But, yeah, Ni no Kuni 2, I'm looking forward to it. So, one other thing announced at PlayStation Experience, this, I guess, kind of capped it off, is a game called Paragon, coming from Epic Games next year for the PlayStation 4, obviously. And this is a MOBA. Yeah, it is going to be a console MOBA. Similar to Overwatch, I guess, but this is going to be third person from the looks of it. Looks pretty, I mean, it looks pretty good from what they showed. There seems to be just a roster of characters, all sorts of abilities, things flying, all sorts of stuff going on. Yeah, it does very much remind me of Overwatch. I think that is the opinion that a lot of people have, is it's kind of an Overwatch clone. But seeing as how neither of these games are out, you know, we're just going to kind of see how it goes. Difference being Paragon is a PlayStation 4 exclusive, and Overwatch is kind of on everything. So, also Overwatch is made by Blizzard. I mean, Epic Games, you know, they've done stuff. They've done stuff. They have, you know, a good history. Perhaps not quite as good as Blizzard, but MOBAs are kind of where it's at now in the world. You gotta put a MOBA out there. It's gotta have just a whole roster of interesting, colorful characters, and boom, slap it out there and make some money. And make some money, I'm sure it will. It looks good, so it doesn't look like trash, I guess. So sometime next year, we can see Paragon. It's even got that one-word title. Alright, so this one, this is from the Game Awards. This is kind of an interesting one. So, we're going to talk about all the actual awards given out a little bit later. But Metal Gear Solid 5 won an award there, and the award was accepted by Kiefer Sutherland, who, if you do not know, voiced Snake in Metal Gear Solid 5. It seems kind of odd that just a voice actor would be the sole person accepting this award, when really, I mean, how many lines do you even have in the game? 150? Like, he really wasn't even in the game that much, but sure enough, it's Kiefer Sutherland, he's there, he'll accept the award. And so he gave a short little speech, you know, of course, you guys are the greatest, blah, 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 team's the best, blah, blah, blah. But then, here is the interesting part. Most shows, I feel, would kind of just leave it off there. Like, that would just be, alright, thanks, Mr. Sutherland, blah, 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 on to our next award. But instead, they move over to Jeff Keighley, who gave a somewhat awkward little monologue about the situation. Like, he said more than I do, which is a lot. And he kept on looking down. Like, it seemed like he was not comfortable delivering this statement, but he did anyways. And I'm happy that he did. Like, it's rare that you get some sort of upfront clarity at an award show like this. But what he said, I'll save you the trouble. As you noticed, Hideo Kojima is not here with us tonight, and I want to tell you a little about that. Mr. Kojima had every intention of being with us tonight, but unfortunately, he was informed by a lawyer representing Konami just recently that he would not be allowed to travel to tonight's award ceremony to accept any awards. And this is when the whole crowd booed, of course. He's still under an employment contract, and it's disappointing and it's inconceivable to me that an artist like Hideo would not be allowed to come here and celebrate with his peers and his fellow teammates. Yeah, so again, just really kind of surprising that he would even say this. Like, he didn't have to say anything. They could have just moved on, and people would be like, oh man, where the hell is Kojima? But no, he actually said, boom, there you go. And this also goes along with Sony had some PlayStation awards the other night in Japan as well, and a PR person at Konami accepted an award for the Phantom Pain instead of Kojima. So he wasn't at either the Japanese stuff or the American stuff. He was nothing, just not anywhere. It's just, it's one of the strangest kind of stories in recent years as far as kind of video game development and teams and companies and, important personnel within the video game industry. And it's just, yeah, there's some weird stuff going on. It seems just really strange. He wouldn't be allowed to attend anything. Like, what did he do? What did Kojima do that just pissed off Konami so much that they just want to bar this guy from existence? Or is it the other way around and Kojima is just really, I don't know. Again, it was interesting and cool that, Jeff Keighley said that and said anything about it, but it doesn't really answer any questions, I guess. It's still just kind of what the hell is going on. But thanks, Mr. Kiefer Sutherland, for accepting the award. A funnier bit, well, actually not funny, really. Well, somewhat. It depends. Jade Raymond of EA? Is that who she works for? I don't even remember. I believe so. Yeah, EA. She went, she was on stage to present the award for Best Performance. And she was talking about how you need to, the most important thing for a character is, to really bring out a character is finding the right type of actor. And then she says, who could imagine Metal Gear without the voice of David Hayter? But then immediately afterwards, she apologized, and that was a bit mean. Like, I assumed she had to know Kiefer Sutherland was in the, that was so, damn, man. That's rough. Don't be saying shit. Don't be saying shit. I mean, I like Kiefer Sutherland. My only complaint about his voice acting in Metal Gear Solid 5 is that he just wasn't in it enough. They couldn't afford him enough. I don't know. But anyways, moving on. 2 announcements for video game release dates for 2016. Both games I'm very interested in. Near and dear to my heart. And both games are coming out the exact same day. And that is April 12th, 2016. And those games are Ratchet & Clank and Dark Souls 3. Damn. Why would they pick the same day? That's just, what am I going to do? So, Dark Souls 3, of course, I don't think really needs any info. I think you all know about Dark Souls 3 and what it's about. It comes out in Japan about 2.5 weeks earlier in March, which is lame, I guess. I mean, it is a pretty profoundly Japanese series, I guess. It's just kind of amazing it's seen such success in America, so okay, fine, but damn. And then Ratchet & Clank is kind of a remake, kind of a reboot, something of the original game to coincide with the movie, which comes out a couple weeks later. And so, of course, I've played every main game in the Ratchet & Clank series, so of course I'm really looking forward to it, looking forward to the movie, but the same day, damn it. I mean, Dark Souls 3 is probably going to win out. My birthday is like 4 days later, so that's gonna be a crazy week, man. Good stuff. Okay. Then perhaps the most exciting thing, for some people I suppose, from the PlayStation experience, was a much more in-depth look at Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Or I guess they're just calling it FF7 Remake, I guess. So, if you're interested in this all, you've either already seen it, but if you haven't, yeah, you can check it out. I mean, they're very much appealing to nostalgia here, and, you know, yeah, I mean, yeah. It's a remake of a very, very popular game. Now, Final Fantasy VII is definitely not my favorite Final Fantasy. Top 5, sure, but not my favorite. So, I don't really have anything, it's not really near and dear to my heart or anything like that. The footage that they showed was a lot of cinematic stuff, but some gameplay, and it appears to definitely be kind of either based on or exactly using the Final Fantasy 15 engine. It looks very much like what we've seen of that. The gameplay, okay, well, the gameplay is different. Yeah, it is. It's different. It is not turn-based. It is not old school. It is new school. It is action RPG. It is like God of War Final Fantasy Edition. Somewhat. I mean, I think I talked about this way back when they said something would be very different. And I think I said this was probably the most likely. I understand. I understand. I get it. I mean, it makes sense. People don't, for a AAA big title release RPG epic game akin to Final Fantasy 15, turn-based, going through menu-based combat is not really what comes out anymore. We just don't really see that from the big games. We see stuff from the indie world. You know, we have stuff like Undertale or something like that that comes out with turn-based, but making it, you know, putting twists on it and kind of making it interesting. But yeah, we don't really get, I mean, it's old. It is old. The concept of turn-based RPG combat is very old school. So I understand coming out with something like this, and you're putting a lot of time, money, effort, all that kind of into this game. This is something for the old school fans, and also to bring a lot of new people into the Final Fantasy world, and because if you're in the video game world, in the community, whatever, for any amount of time, you're probably going to hear about Final Fantasy VII. You're probably going to hear people hyping the shit out of this remake. So, yeah, you're going to have people check this out that have never played the original. And if they boot it up, they spend $60 on it, and it's, gameplay from 1997 or whatever. Yeah, they're going to be perhaps a little disappointed. It's not what they're used to. It's I don't want to say clunky, but it's old school. So I understand, and, the fact that this is a remake, I guess, if they just updated graphics, that's more like an HD port, more or less. So I understand all their reasons. I'm still not happy about it. I mean, I grew up on the old school stuff. I Final Fantasy VI. I've probably beaten Final Fantasy VI more than any other game ever. Yeah, pretty easily, I'm sure. You know, I really enjoy that kind of tactical turn-based menu combat. I like it. It can be challenging, but it's still entertaining. Things don't have to be just bang, bang, fizzle, snap, crack in your face, you know. So, I understand it, but I'm not really happy about it. I'm sure I'll get this. But I'm not uber hyped about it. You know, because it's a Final Fantasy that I don't exactly completely love. You know, it's not in my top 3. And you have this combat that is just quintessentially not Final Fantasy in my opinion. Like this is a Final Fantasy like Fallout 3 and 4 Fallout games. That's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. It doesn't make it a bad game, but it doesn't make it a Final Fantasy game. Even though it's got Cloud Strife and Barret and all that kind of shit. Okay. So final thing then is talking about the game awards themselves. So we have a number of different awards handed out. Let's see, we have 16 jury voted awards, including Game of the Year, and then 6 Fans' Choice awards. So I guess starting with the lamer group, which is the Fans' Choice, we have Esports Game of the Year, which I feel like they don't even tell you who the winner is. It's amazing that Hearthstone is even up there, though. That's pretty crazy. I don't know if the Fans' Choice even show you who won, so I'm not going to talk about that. Never mind. Never mind. Like, I don't really want to talk about Esports Team of the Year anyways. Okay. So let's go through these for the real ones. Best Art Direction. Winner, Ori and the Blind Forest. I can't exactly argue with that. I did really like Ori and the Blind Forest, and I did think it looked really good, and the art style was really good. It did go up against Bloodborne, though, for art direction. I feel like those are just drastically different. And, you know, art, I feel, is kind of one of the more difficult things to just judge, you know? Like, how do you qualify which game has better art direction? I guess there are people out there that are qualified, but I don't know if they were on this jury. You know, the jury was made up of game critics. Maybe some of them have degrees in, you know, art critique or, you know, art whatever. I don't know, but they're very different, I guess. Also up there was Batman Arkham Knight, Metal Gear Solid, Witcher 3, you know, good-looking games, but art direction, that's a bit, you know, bit different. So, okay, Ori, I'm alright. Best Multiplayer. Again, kind of a subjective thing. And the winner was Splatoon? Yeah, I guess. Yes. The winner was Splatoon for the Wii U. I've never played Splatoon. I can't really say, but looking at the other options for best multiplayer, it wasn't great. Halo, Black Ops 3, Destiny, Rocket League. I mean, Rocket League was immensely popular. I thought that would have won, but I guess Splatoon. Sure, I don't know. Best sports/racing game. They dumped those together because nobody really cares. And the winner was Rocket League. Interestingly enough. I feel like that's like you have this whole jury of, like, you know, people really involved in game criticism and, you know, just gamers, you know. Like, these people are just gamers for the most part. And so, yeah, looking at the list of FIFA, Forza Motorsport, NBA, you know, Pro Evolution Soccer, Rocket League, I feel is like the most gamey one. So, yeah, that's probably what I would have voted for, even though I've never played it. But that's why I'm not on a jury. Best family game, Super Mario Maker. Okay, I really have not anything to say about this. I didn't play Super Mario Maker, and I never played games with my family at all. So I don't know. But when I was a kid, I played Mario, so yeah, it's Mario. I don't know. Do people actually sit down as a family and play video games? Get some damn board games, people. Best fighting game, Mortal Kombat X, which maybe 10. Maybe that's what they're going for. I mean, Mega Man X didn't mean 10 until they were later like, oh, we'll just make enough Mega Man games to where we get up to 9, and then, oh, look at that, it works. So I guess it's probably Mortal Kombat 10. Yeah, I don't really have anything to say. A couple of these games I've never even heard of, so, you know, we're just kind of getting through the bullshit categories. Best role-playing game, here we go. Up for consideration was Bloodborne, Fallout 4, Pillars of Eternity, Witcher 3, and Undertale. It is amazing that Undertale, like, is even here, is even on the list. Like, that's incredible. Going up against Witcher 3, Fallout 4, Bloodborne, like, that's crazy. But the winner was The Witcher 3. And as far as an RPG goes for the year, yes, I can understand Witcher 3. Now, Divinity Original Sin was not nominated, and I don't know if that came out this year. I don't even actually know. I know the Enhanced Edition came out this year. Okay, no, the regular game came out, shipped last year. Okay, so I understand. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk about my games of the year in January. But I feel like The Witcher 3 is like the RPGist and the best ones of this group. Pillars of Eternity is the most traditional, I guess, of an RPG, but it just wasn't good enough. So, alright, I understand. Best action-adventure game. We had Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Batman Arkham Knight, Metal Gear Solid 5, Ori and the Blind Forest, and Rise of the Tomb Raider. The winner, Metal Gear Solid 5. Huh. It's interesting that they put Bloodborne under role-playing games and not action-adventure games. How do they define role-playing games? You know, like, what is the qualifier that makes it a role-playing game? The only thing that the 5 role-playing games really have in common, apart from the action-adventure game... Well, no. Like, okay, you gain levels? Is that it? Because I'm pretty sure you gain levels in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Like, pretty much all the games from the action-adventure categories, you gain new abilities as you go on, and you unlock... You have, like, skill trees and things like that for, like, all these games. So, I feel like almost every game we play nowadays, you unlock new... There's a progression. There's a progression system for everything. And that, you know... even the term role-playing game is blurred more than it ever has in the video game world. You know? It just... I don't know. These two categories seem very similar. Yeah, it's strange. But Metal Gear Solid 5 as just an action game, I guess. Yeah, it's pretty good. But is it Bloodborne good? I don't know. It just seems strange Bloodborne was not even in this category. But anyways. Best shooter. Black Ops 3, Destiny Taken King, Halo 5, Splatoon, Star Wars Battlefront. Winner, Splatoon, obviously. All these games, except for Battlefront, for some reason, were also in the best multiplayer. So, of course, whatever wins that is going to win this. How could it not? We don't get too many single-player shooter games. And so, there you have it. Splatoon. It must be pretty damn good. I don't know. Games for Impact. Well, okay. I'll tell you, I didn't watch the Game Awards. I didn't watch them. I used to watch the Spike stuff when I had free time, but yeah, I didn't watch it this year. So Perhaps when they announced this, they actually explained it. But games for Impact, we have Sybil, I don't know. Her Story, which I Let's Played. Life is Strange, Sunset, and Undertale. The winner is Life is Strange. Okay, so the only game of this grouping that I've played is Her Story. And I don't know what Games for Impact means. I don't know what it means. So I can't really comment on this category. I mean, I know a lot of people like Life is Strange, and they talked about it as kind of a, you know, as a narrative, as a storytelling device. It was pretty, I don't know. It was good, I guess. I don't know. It won something. There you go. Best performance. We have Ashley Birch from Life is Strange. Camilla Luddington playing Lara Croft in Rise of the Tomb Raider. Doug Cockle as Geralt in Witcher 3. Mark Hamill as the Joker in Batman Arkham Knight. And Viva Severt in Her Story. And the winner was Her Story. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I played all these except Life is Strange, but I feel like Her Story, it was probably the easiest to judge, really, because it was the only one that actually used live footage. Like, this was, like, you know, critiquing an actress in a movie. But even still, yeah, I mean, it was pretty, what she did in that game, you know, how she accomplished it, and how she had to transform the role, you know, throughout the entire experience, and, you know, playing almost different characters, or playing different characters, depending. Yeah, it was really impressive, and, you know, that's what I thought throughout the whole game. It was really good. Not to diminish the other nominees. I mean, Mark Hamill's always going to be pretty good. But, yeah, that was a pretty special one. Okay. Best score / soundtrack. Fallout 4, Halo 5, Metal Gear Solid, Ori and the Blind Forest, Witcher 3. Yeah, you're kind of seeing a trend here among things. Winner was Metal Gear Solid 5. Okay. The winner, in my opinion, is Bloodborne. Especially with the new DLC, that soundtrack is the only one that I even care about. So yeah, I don't know why it wasn't even freaking nominated. That is Halo 5. Get that bullshit out of here. Moving on. Best narrative. Interesting. Her Story, Life is Strange, Tales from the Borderlands, The Witcher 3, and Until Dawn. Winner, Her Story. Really, really impressive. That won over these, you know, these other kind of big things. But a lot of big mainstream games don't really care about narrative, and I don't care about their narrative. But yes, I really did care about Her Story's story. The way that it was presented, the actual story itself, the way things were going on. Of the games that I played this year, there weren't many that I cared about the story. So yeah, I would absolutely give it to Her Story. You know, Bloodborne has very interesting lore. But the narrative is not placed out in a easy to digest manner, you know. So as far as just like mythos and things like that, Bloodborne would easily take it. But as a narrative, yeah, okay, Her Story. I mean, I liked Until Dawn, and I liked the story, but it was somewhat, I only liked it really because it was just an ode to horror movies. The story itself wasn't anything good and kind of went off the deep end and blah, blah, blah. So, okay, Her Story, congrats. Best mobile / handheld game. We have Downwell, Fallout Shelter, Lara Croft Go, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, and Pac-Man 2056. Or 256. The winner, Lara Croft Go. So I'll admit, the only two that I've played here have been Monster Hunter 4 and Fallout Shelter, and I didn't really play Fallout Shelter that much. So I can't really comment on much of this. I'm really surprised Monster Hunter 4 didn't win, because it was... I mean, I really don't like playing mobile games at all, but I thought Monster Hunter 4 was pretty competent for what they did, but maybe it's kind of getting old hat. Although, yeah, Lara Croft Go, that's kind of surprising, but that's not a category I really care about. Best Independent Game. We have Axiom Verge, Her Story, Ori and the Blind Forest, Rocket League, and Undertale. All somewhat solid games, I guess. The winner is Rocket League. Surprising. Of these 5 games, I would say Ori and the Blind Forest is the best. However, I have not played Rocket League, and I haven't played Undertale. Although I know the gist of Undertale. I've seen footage, blah, blah, blah. And I guess I've seen footage of Rocket League as well. I'm amazed that Axiom Verge was even nominated, because I didn't think that was that great of a game. Her Story, of course, I really liked. Ori and the Blind Forest, yeah, I really enjoyed that one. As far as just gameplay goes, that would take it for me. But I guess Rocket League started somewhat of a bit of a phenomenon, I guess. So it has a bunch of appeal. So I guess I can understand. But I don't know. Ori and the Blind Forest was... yeah, I don't know. I guess I really didn't think Ori and the Blind Forest was that indie of a game. I thought it had like the full backing of Microsoft, but there you go. 2 more. Developer of the Year. Bethesda Game Studios, CD Projekt Red, From Software, Kojima Productions, and Nintendo. The winner was CD Projekt Red. Now I'm interested in how they determine the Developer of the Year. Like, what are the qualifications they look through? And they're like, yes, this is the Developer of the Year. Now, I assume this is not, like, what company put out the best game. Because that seems pointless. You have Game of the Year. That would just, okay, there you go. So I assume it's, you know, the way they kind of operate and, you know, the things that they did during the year that kind of proved them to be a good company, which is why I guess EA is not on here. Ubisoft's not on here. And yeah, for this year, CD Projekt Red has gotten more compliments as a company than any other one, I would suppose. As far as their business practice, their game development tactics, you know, how they communicate with the community and things like that. I think before I even looked at this list, I probably would have guessed CD Projekt Red. I'm amazed Kojima was even nominated with the bullshit they've been pulling and the way that Jeff Keighley even talks about, you know, that whole situation. I'm amazed they were nominated, but okay. CD Projekt Red. Now, what was interesting here is Game of the Year. We have Bloodborne, Fallout 4, Metal Gear Solid 5, Super Mario Maker, and The Witcher 3. And the winner was The Witcher 3. So, in fact, the Game of the Year was developed by the Developer of the Year, which is okay. So I've played all these games except for Super Mario Maker, and I'm not really going to comment on this because you're going to have to wait for my top 10 games of 2015. The Witcher 3 was very good. It was very good. It was a vast improvement for me over The Witcher 2. And just going beyond, you know, its gameplay and things like that, you know, coinciding with kind of CD Projekt Red being the Developer of the Year, The Witcher 3 is just kind of what you want in a video game, you know, in today's day. You know, The Witcher 3 is how you want it presented, how you want it delivered to you, how you want it handled, as well as just being a very damn good game. And yeah, that's really all I can say without spoiling my top 10. So, there you have it, the Game Awards 2015. I mean, it's as pointless as the Oscars are, I suppose, but it's interesting to look at what a jury of 30 critics decide on. Okay. So, moving on to movies, then. I really only have one thing to talk about. There was some trailers released in the world. We had the new Batman vs. Superman trailer. We had the X-Men Apocalypse trailer, I think. And there was probably some other one, like, I think there was a Civil War trailer. A bunch of comic book stuff, basically. I did not watch any new trailers, because I have a pretty somewhat strict rule to never watch a trailer online, unless it's something that I really don't think I'll see in theaters. But most big trailers I see in movie theaters at least a few times. At least a few times. So I never, like, I see movie trailers enough that I want to at least, you know, just enjoy them on the big screen, because I know I will at least multiple times. So I can't really say anything about them. I don't know. All I've heard is that the Batman vs. Superman trailer revealed too many plot details and people don't like it. But besides that, people are really excited about it. The Captain America Civil War trailer, people are freaking out about. Pretty much, yeah, levels of excitement. But the one thing I do want to talk about is also my stupid, ridiculous news of the week. For those that follow movie news somewhat closely, you might be able to guess what I'm going to talk about. And this probably tops my stupid, ridiculous movie news of all time. Like, this is probably the peak. I don't know if anything could top this. But okay. So, on Tuesday, I received an email notification. And a long while back, when I actually used to care a little bit about news, I signed up for something called Drudge Siren, which is related to a website called The Drudge Report, drudgereport.com, which is run by a guy named Matt Drudge. So Drudge Report is kind of a news aggregate site. It's like a single page, and it basically just links to other news websites for news articles, up-to-date stuff. Okay. Most of the time, Drudge Report, they don't really post anything of their own. It's always just links to other stuff, and usually it's with somewhat kind of clickbaity titles and blah, blah, blah. So I used to like Drudge Report a lot. I used to check it daily and blah, blah, blah. And I signed up for Drudge Siren because occasionally they do something where they put a big headline at the top of the page, and they do like this flashing siren thing, and this is usually like a big news piece, you know? Like the really big stuff that happens in the world. And so I signed up for this thing called Drudge Siren that would notify me with an email whenever there was a new siren, whenever there was a new big headline. So I get an email from Drudge Siren on Tuesday, and the headline reads, DiCaprio raped by bear in Fox movie. And I'm like, what? My very first thought was, like, he was on set. For some reason, they had a bear, and it raped him. And, like, just now, this news is coming out because it was so hush-hush or something. It was, like, the most, you know, I don't know. That was my very first thought. But then, my second thought was, like, this was before I even looked at the article. I was like, no, that's pretty ridiculous. So I guess they're talking about in the movie, he gets raped by a bear. And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, is this real life? Like, is this just fantasy? What is going on? So I finally then got into the article, and this is posted directly by Drudge Report. This is not a link to another website. This was by them, just text posted on their site. The new movie Revenant features a shocking scene of a wild bear raping Leo DiCaprio. The explicit moment from Oscar-winning director Alejandro Inarritu has caused maximum controversy in early screenings. Some in the audience escaped to the exits when the Wolf of Wall Street met the Grizzly of Yellowstone. The story of rural survivalism and revenge reaches new violent levels for a mainstream film. The bear flips Leo over and thrusts during the explicit mauling. He is raped twice. Not to be outdone, DiCaprio rips open a horse and sleeps naked in its carcass. For director Inarritu, Birdman was just the appetizer. Fox has given the movie an award-qualifying release on Christmas Day. Developing. Okay, so this... yeah, I'm sure if you haven't heard this, you're digesting it all. So apparently they based this little article on a preview written by Roger Friedman. And this is what, in his original article, he wrote. The bear flips glass over on his belly and molests him. Dry humps him, actually, as he nearly devours him. So that line from Roger Friedman does not imply rape at all, really. It just uses kind of needless sexual language to describe the scene. For some reason, he went with that. Okay, so of course, Fox News had to, or Fox Movies, what had to come out and say none of that is true. There is no rape. There's no bear rape going on in The Revenant. And that was, of course, my thought when I read the article was like, that's not a thing that's going to happen. Because I've read, the story of Hugh Glass, what the movie's based on. And I also have a brain in my head. And so in real life, Hugh Glass was attacked by the bear, which was a female, because, it was worried that its cubs were threatened, which is usually, why a lot of bear attacks happen. And so that is what Fox, 20th Century Fox, came out and said is, it's a female, threatened cubs, blah, blah, blah. There's no rape scene. And so the director himself now has come out and just like, this is some funny shit. Like, the fact that people are talking about this is just hilarious to him. Now, I'm not saying that, we're not saying that rape is a funny topic or anything like that. But bear rape, I don't think has ever happened in the history of the world. I'm pretty sure it's not. If someone out there listening to this can attest that they or know somebody that has been raped by a bear, please come forward. We will not judge. But until then, this is the stupidest piece of news of the year. And it's like a joke now among my friends, because the funniest part about this, this article from The Drudge that they wrote, is this center little line that they put in here, in quotation marks. They put it in quotation marks because they're quoting somebody, but I don't think anybody ever said this about this scene that doesn't exist in this movie that isn't out yet or anything. What the line was, he is raped twice! Exclamation point. And that's like the funniest thing is they not only does Drudge Report apparently think people would think that they would have the hubris to put in a bear rape scene in a movie, but they want you to think that it happened twice. So Leonardo DiCaprio is just a hunter wandering around in the woods, and this bear just gets up on him, and instead of just eating him, as is the natural instinct of a wild bear protecting her cubs, the bear decides to grow a phallus and rape him. But then, after the rape occurs, like, the bear takes a reprieve and, like, lets Leo think that it's over, but they come back. The bear comes back for seconds and doesn't eat him then, but rapes him again. Like, again, rape's no joke, but this is a joke. That's a joke. because it can't mean, like, it's not like it thrusts twice, right? Like, it says he is raped twice. Rape is like, I was going to say rape is an occasion, but that's probably not something you want on audio. But it's like, it's an event, and no, that's probably not good either. But it's like, it's a thing, it's not a specific single action. You know what I'm trying to say. He's raped twice. It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that Drudge Report was like, let's type this up. People are going to be so crazy about bear rape. But then, the following line, not to be outdone, DiCaprio rips open a horse and sleeps naked in its carcass. Like, that would somehow top twice bear rape. Like, that doesn't. We've seen people cut open carcasses and sleep in it in Star Wars. That does not top twice times bear rape. It's ridiculous. I think I have said all I need to say about this. So rest assured, there's no bear rape. There's not a bear rape scene ever depicted in film, I don't think. Nor has it ever happened in real life, I don't think. Nor will it happen in The Revenant. It's, I mean, not that The Revenant is going to be like child's play. Like, people are saying it's pretty freaking gory and violent and, you know, upsetting, I guess. But I don't think they're worried about rape. Not bear rape. Alright, I think I've said the word rape enough. I apologize if I have triggered anybody or anything like that. I did not mean to. That is the world we live in, man. Where a big news site posts an article about bear rape. And then now, if you go to Drudge Report right now, although by the time you hear this, it'll probably be gone. But if I go there right now, the front page, they have a picture of the movie of the bear attacking Leonardo DiCaprio. And they have two links. One is talking about how it's based on a true story, and the other article is the director calling the bear rape controversy a crazy mad comedy. And pretty much Drudge Report is the one that started this, so even the article they link talks about the Drudge Report. Like, oh god, it's so ridiculous. Alright, moving on. Last thing there before we end is my Mangg's movie recommendation of the week. And this one is probably something you haven't seen. Maybe you've heard of. It was something I kind of watched just on a whim. And that is Attack the Block. So Attack the Block, 2011 British sci-fi comedy. And this one is interesting because it stars, more or less, John Boyega, who is kind of, I don't know if he's the star. I don't think he's the star, but he's a major character in the new Star Wars movie. And so he hasn't done many movies. He's doing Star Wars. He did some other stuff that I haven't heard of, and he did Attack the Block, which was kind of like his first real movie. So yeah, Attack the Block is about, it's a British movie. It is British. It's definitely British. And it's kind of basically about just a young gang. Just basically a young gang out on the streets one night, and there's basically an alien invasion. But the aliens are definitely, they're not like E.T. or anything like that. Like, they're some dangerous shit. And so yeah, the movie has a sense of humor. But the action is pretty frenetic. It's pretty intense, exciting stuff, and the characters are interesting. John Boyega as kind of he's basically plays like the leader of this little gang, and the gang kind of gets shit on a little bit, but they're looking for respect, and so an alien invasion is a good time to do it. There's some other actors and characters in there, including Nick Frost, who plays kind of a drug dealer, and of course Nick Frost is always funny. So, yeah, so I recommend it. If you've never heard of it, never checked it out, I do recommend it. It's getting kind of a cult following in recent years, which is how I heard about it. And I don't think that many people have seen it. I don't hear it talked about too much, but I thought it was well done for you know, for what it was. So there you go. Attack the Block. All right, so that is going to wrap up today's episode. Yeah, I mean, we had some good discussions there, I guess. Bear rape, so ridiculous. It's just so, like, I still can't get over it. I still can't get over it. I looked at my phone, and that is what I saw. I never thought I would see such a thing in my life. DiCaprio raped by bear in Fox movie. It just still blows my mind. Alright, so my name is Mangg. This has been the Manggcast for December 5th, 2015. And bear rape is not a joke.